I'm gonna be honest, there are a lot of bad writers out there. The thing is, it's okay to be a bad writer, as long as you're constantly working to improve your craft. But it becomes a problem when you don't care about writing and you're only doing it to make quick money. Because readers will quickly realize you're not a good writer and that you don't care to put in the effort to create quality work. So don't be one of those writers. Today, I'm sharing 6 signs you're not a strong writer so that you could be sure to do better. Let's get started. Hey guys, Nour here, and welcome back to my channel. For those visiting for the first time, hello! I'm the fantasy author of the novel Divinity Falling. Be sure to subscribe for awesome writing advice videos that will help you take your story to the next level. So obviously, you should read and write a lot if you're a serious writer. But beyond that, how can you know if your writing is weak? Let's break down the 6 signs you're not a strong writer. Number 1. Your story is 90% dialogue. I read a popular fantasy novel recently, and it didn't take me long to realize that the novel was self-published without much effort. Here's the thing, I'm a big supporter of self-publishing just as much as traditional publishing. But that doesn't mean that we should just pump out bad books without editing them or making sure they are quality. The novel I read unfortunately has a massive following, and it's a part of a large series. The general plot seemed interesting, but once I started reading, I noticed a lot of flaws. One of them is that it's made up of 90% dialogue. While dialogue is essential for a good story, it shouldn't be the majority of your story. Balance is key. We want to see characters action just as much as we want to hear them talking. So if they're just talking heads with no action, that becomes a problem. This is also a sign that you don't know how to write engaging scenes. So you end up stuffing the story with dialogue to add word count. This is a mistake a lot of new writers make, and I know this because I used to make it when I first started writing as a kid. Now, there's nothing wrong with making this mistake and learning, but it becomes a problem when you keep doing it and then proceed to publish a book in this way. Don't do that. Number 2, your subplot is the focus of your writing. Let's say the main conflict of your story is that your characters are stranded on an island and need to survive. That's a great main conflict. But your story becomes weak when you start concentrating on the relationship of the love interests more than on the survival aspect. Instead of writing about how these characters are going to hunt for food, you write about them mashing their faces together. And this goes on for, you guessed it, 90% of the book. Don't make your subplot the focus of your story. It's a subplot for a reason. It should play a role, but the focus of your story should be the main conflict. Number 3, your scenes stretch on for too long. There's no rule that says your scenes should be 2 pages long or 7 pages long. But at the same time, you should know when your scenes are dragging on. If your characters have been having a conversation for 20 pages straight, you might want to rewrite the scene and trim it down. As readers, we have short attention spans, so don't linger on one scene for too long. Number 4, you repeat the same points a lot. This one bothers me a lot because it makes me feel like the writer thinks us readers are stupid. For example, let's say the main character feels betrayed by another character. They'll mention how they don't fully trust that character. Then in another scene, they'll think the same thing again. Then in the next chapter, the same thought pops inside their head. And this goes on for the duration of the story. Like, come on, we get it. They don't trust the other character. We understood this the first and second and third time it was mentioned. We don't need a summary about this every chapter. Your readers are smart. They can remember events in your story. Don't keep recapping things. Number 5, your main character is annoying. I don't know what it is about poorly written stories, but the main character is almost always childish. At every turn, they throw a temper tantrum. And for some reason, they have violent tendencies that other characters brush off as cute. This isn't cute. Being a childish adult or young adult isn't cute. Also, having violent tendencies doesn't make them a strong character. They're just unstable and reckless. Of course, if your character is forced to be violent to defend themselves, that's okay. But if they're violent toward even their love interest and friends, that's messed up. This isn't cute. It's just bad writing. And number 6, you describe transportation in boring detail. When it comes to good writing, writers skip the boring details. So if a character wakes up to get ready for school, a good writer doesn't show us that they're brushing their teeth, using the bathroom, and all of that. We don't need to see all of that. But when it comes to bad writing, writers think we need to see everything. For example, someone will tell a character that the queen is waiting for them. Then we have an entire scene where the character is walking from their room into the gardens, up the stairs, into the queen's chamber. Was all this necessary? No, definitely not. When somebody tells the character that the queen is waiting for them, That's where the scene should end. Then start the next scene at the front doors of the Queen's chamber. Just cut all the boring details out. No one cares about these details, and you're just making the scene drag on, as I mentioned earlier. So that's all I have for you today. I'd love to know, have you ever made these mistakes or stumbled across a story that did? Let me know in the comments. If you're new to my channel, be sure to subscribe. I put out writing advice videos every other Wednesday that will help you take your story to the next level. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media to see what I'm up to from day to day and to chat with me. And before we go, I just want to give a quick shout out to Sarah Frayne, Alan J. Early, and Noah Kovansi from my shout out tier over on Patreon, as well as all my amazing patrons. Thank you all so much for your support. I really appreciate you. And remember, Nour for president.